Hi there, welcome to AI Python. Hope you are doing great and enjoying the video series in which you are learning to build a desktop app called Vaccine Availability Checker from scratch in Python using tkinter library. This is the 11th video of this series and this is the last video of this playlist. This video aims at aggregating all the concept that we have learned so far in this playlist as well as writing a new function that will perform the search operation to yield the final result. So far you have learned many concepts such as creating a GUI, adding, customizing various widgets such as text box, labels, buttons on the app. You have also learned to write backend logic in Python to deliver the desired output. In this video, you will mainly learn to write logic behind the search button in order to bring the result from the CoWIN portal, extract the relevant information from the large chunk of API responses that we get, and present it in an ordered format on the result window. As a result, you can find all the vaccination center near you as well as the availability of various type of vaccines on those centers. So let me quickly demonstrate this application with its full functionality.
A short appeal. We are devoting our time to plan, prepare, and present each content to you in the best possible way. It takes a lot of hard work, dedication, and passion to create these videos for you. We will continue to deliver the knowledge that we have acquired in our professional career for absolutely free. We need your support. You can support us in two simple ways. Subscribe to our channel and share this in your social network. This will encourage us more than anything to go beyond the limit and fulfill our motto of keep learning and keep growing. Thank you so much for your time.
So this is the final product that we have right now, and this is called Vaccine Availability Checker version 1.1. In the complete series, you have learned a lot of functionality to create a GUI and a backend logic in Python, purely in Python with tkinter library, right? So as you can see, this is the full functional working software, and towards the left, you can see the date and the time, right? Here's the pin code, and you can get your current pin code by just clicking here. This is the first functionality. Secondly, you can get the date of today's date, right? Just by clicking over it, you can get the today's date. Once you have this date and pin code together, you can make a search by hitting over this button and you'll get the result. And at the same time, you can also change the pin code of your location or maybe anything. Even you can change the date. Let's say I'll make it 5th and search for the vaccines. So all the possibilities are there. In case you wanted to again come back to the original date, you can again click over here and you get the date, right? And just hit over this button and you will get all the results. So this is how it looks like. This will be very friendly. You will be able to develop this by your own. So go ahead and use it. I have provided the link in the description, and the software is available at free of cost at our website aipython.in. Go ahead and download it, share it in your network, and be safe. You can also browse all the previous video of this playlist from the link available in the I button displayed at the top right corner of this video right now, as well as I have also provided the link in the description. A fully functional and 100% working version of this software for Windows is also available for absolutely free at our website aipython.in. Download the software from the link available in the description. So let's get started with the last topic of this playlist and in fact this video as well. So in this video, as I told you earlier, we are going to create this function. This is called search vaccine availability. In the short form I've written AVL. We are going to write this function and we'll understand how we can incorporate functionality that will bring the result into our app. So let me execute this code so that I can parallelly make you understand what is happening side by side. All right. So as you can see here, the first function that I'm executing here is clear result box. You have understood in the last video that what exactly the clear result box will do. It will clear everything from this window, right? So right now, since we have not executed even a single time, so this is empty. But anyway, we have incorporated this one in such a way that even from the next run, when you click on this search button, this function gets activated, right? So this function is being called internally when you click on this search box. The first thing that it'll do once you click on the search box, it will delete everything from here. Right now, nothing is there, but I'll show you later. Okay. The second thing is pin code. So I'm creating one variable called pin code, all in caps. You can use anything you want. What it is doing is when I click on this button, it will get me the current pin code, right? So this is the pin code, and this pin code underscore text underscore variable var is basically associated with this text box, which I've discussed in other videos. You can go and check out the videos in the playlist to understand. And then I'm using get function to get the value which is currently available here, right? And then why I'm using strip, as you can see here, there are some extra spaces. I have not created it additionally. It is coming directly from the website from which I'm fetching the data, right? I don't know why they have added a extra space. There is a function in Python which is called strip, and using strip you can remove the trailing as well as the leading white spaces. All right. So by using the strip function, I'm just making sure that only these values should go, right? Okay. So you understood the concept of pin code. Similarly for date, if you click on here, the current date or today's date will appear here, right? And the same date is also fetched using .get method and stored in date variable in this format itself, right? So you got the idea of pin code and date. Now coming to the response underscore JSON or RESP underscore JSON. This is basically the variable which hold the data fetched from the CoWIN portal. And in the last video, I've talked about how you can send an API request and get the data. If you have missed that video, please go and check out that video. There I have discussed how you can build this function so that every time when you change the input like date and pin code and click on search button, it will go and fetch the data from the server and give you the result in the JSON format in this variable, right? I'm storing the result in this variable. Let me quickly show you the JSON response. If you send the request in this format, so this is the request route, you can say, and if you send the request route in this format, you'll get the result like this. Don't worry, in case if you are finding it difficult to understand, I have a great solution for you. If you are using Chrome, there is a Chrome extension called JSON Formatter. You have to install and activate this extension. This is free of cost. Once you install this extension, the same data that you have looked right now will look like this in a neat, clean manner. And you can collapse it also however you like, right? So this gives a better sense about the data. Anyway, we are going to refer this. I mean, I have already talked about this in detail in the videos, right? So I'm not going to talk more on this, but this is just for a heads up in case you have missed it. Okay, now we will get more information from this. So this data, basically the complete session along with all the centers, the complete data is stored here in this RESP underscore JSON, right? So now we will be extracting all those valuable information from this data because most of the things we don't need from this JSON response, right? I have created try and accept block because during the journey of extracting the data from the JSON response, there could be a lot of error which will appear, right? It could be because of the wrong pin code, wrong date, or non-availability of the data, or could be anything. So in order to handle all of them together, I will be writing all the code inside try, and for any error, I'll be displaying a message that there is an error because of this reason, right? Okay, let's get started with the first thing that we are going to understand is we will first check whether the length of this session, that means if there is something inside the session, right? If nothing is there, then we understand that there is no data for this particular combination of date and pin code, and I will simply display a message saying vaccine not available for this given date. For example, let me write a dummy pin code, or better, 99999999, right? Obviously this pin code doesn't exist, and if I try to get the vaccine for this pin code, it will pop up a message saying that vaccine not available yet for the given date. So that is what a pop-up window or a message box will appear, and will say, so this vaccine doesn't seems to be on this center. This is what exactly I'm doing using these two lines. All right. If there is no data, then I have to display the value. In other case, if there are data, then I will try to find the data by each session. So I'm using iterator as ses, which will iterate over each session and give me the result. What I'm interested in getting, like age limit, center name, pin code, although pin code is not necessary, but anyway, just for demonstration purpose. Vaccine name, availability, available capacity, quantity, dose, and all. All right. So how to get the age limit? Just use the ses variable because it is holding the current session. In the ses variable, I'll go to this one, minimum age limit. So I'll capture this one and write it here so that the particular value against this one, which is 18, will come and will be stored here. Similarly, the other one, center name, vaccine name, available capacity, quantity dose 1, quantity dose 2, you can name it anything that you want, whichever is convenient for you. It is like a dictionary. I mean, if you know how to extract the data from JSON, it will be very easy for you. In case if you're not, try to understand it like a Python dictionary, and the way you handle, basically you ask for the key and in return you will get the value. Similarly, it is happening here also. I'm giving the key, which is, I can give any key, which is like, for example, fee. Fee will be the key, and the return value will be 780. So if I give here fee, then the return value will be 780, which is stored in this one, just for example. Okay. So this way I have extracted all the information from this session, and I'll keep repeating this session for the number of session available in the API response. So just start with the first session, got these variables, arrange them. There are some more things to do. For example, if their available capacity is greater than 0, so if the available capacity, which is here in this value, if it is greater than 0, so as you can see here, if the available capacity is greater than 0, that means if the vaccines are available, then it will show that it is available directly in the status, right? So that in the first column itself, you get to know that, okay, should I check this column or not, right? This is just a heads up before even going through the column. All right. If it is not available, I will say NA. For example, let me change that pin code, and you can see here, no, NA. There are a lot of times NA is available. That means there is no vaccine, neither in dose 1 nor in dose 2, right? All right. So this is the first check that I'm doing, and based on that, I'm furnishing the detail in the first column itself. Second thing is age limit. Let's say I wanted to categorize based on the age, then I will fetch the value of age limit. Either it will be 18 plus or between 18 to 44. If so, then I'll provide the age group directly like this, which you can see here, age group 18 to 44, 18 to 44, right? So this is how I'm getting the information, transforming it according to the data, and then I'm displaying it, or basically writing it in this column, right? The next thing that what we are going to do is simply get the values, because all the values are available here for each center. Try to write them in the box. Basically, the first box is for availability, which is whether the vaccine is available or not, right? And we know that we have stored the value in the current status, right? The current status is this one, and I'm trying to put this value inside this availability box, right? And with this customization, this is string formatting, where you align the string towards this middle, like this center alignment, right? And then 6S stands for 6 string 6. I have reserved 6 string so that I can represent my availability. And the benefit of doing this alignment is the center align looks much cleaner, right? So that it is appearing in the middle. If you see NA, it is appearing in middle. Although it is small, like 2 character only, but still I'm holding 6. I'm reserving 6 string a space so that it aligned properly, right? This is the reason I am doing this. Then a new line after the end of this one so that it gets appended to the next one, right? Then here comes the result box. Then the second value, which is center name, I'll append it in the second column, right? The center name. All right, these are the way that I'm doing it. So these are the string formatting. You can learn more about string formatting. Just Google it out. You'll find a lot of content on the string alignment, basically. This is part of string formatting in Python, and you can align the string in a different way. Center, left, right, like this. Okay, similarly for age group, I'm putting it in this column, the third column. For vaccine name, the fourth column. For quantity dose 1 in the fifth, and dose 2 in the sixth, and the total in seventh, like this. If apart from handling all those error, if there are still some error which is left out, which can come because maybe in the communication process when you try to send a API request and because of something or overload or maybe anything which is unavoidable, some unusual situation happen. In that case, instead of making program crash, I can handle it using the accept block, where I can accept the block as key error. If there's something error in the in this process, then I can handle those error and make the system proof from the crash so that it warns you instead of crashing completely. All right. So I hope you understand. I have tried to go into the detail of this function, and it took reasonably long time to make clean and write the code so that you get a best out of it. I am sure that by following all the videos of this playlist, definitely you are going to make it by your own. Even if you are the beginner, this will definitely help you to build this project successfully. If you are struggling at any point of time, we are there to help you. Just comment in the message box, or you can directly reach us by writing to our email ID aipython.india@gmail.com, which is shown here in the screen, right? Thank you for watching the complete series. In case if you have missed any video, I would strongly recommend you to watch the series. Otherwise, it will be like in silos. You will not able to get the complete idea. Try to invest some time and learn through each video step by step. Have a wonderful time and keep learning and keep growing. That's it for this video. I hope you have learned something new in this video. Please help us by sharing this video in your network. We read each comment and reply them. In case if you have any doubt related to this video, then do write them in the comment section. We will reply. See you next time with another exciting and informative content. I'll be preparing the next video for you. Till then, keep learning and keep growing.